What's up everyone? Welcome back to Just Finish Coding. This is part 3 of our Dodge the Block series on Scratch 3. So let's get coding.
Just finished coding.
Now quick interjection here, if you've not watched parts 1 and 2, please watch them before you come here because we're picking up from where we left off and you'll be very lost. I'll leave a card for you right here. Please watch the videos and then come right back. If you're still here, I'm going to assume that you've watched parts 1 and 2, in which case you should be able to move your paddle around, and that is pretty much it. So in this video, we'll be coding in some stuff to make sure that the blocks fall down from above, and we'll also be making a few small changes to the paddle. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start off by going to the block and initializing a couple of variables. The first one I'm going to do, and these variables are going to be public variables for all sprites, and I'm going to call this variable weight lag. You can click OK. Next, I'll be making a variable, and this one is going to be called block speed. Once again for all sprites. Now you can click OK. The next one is going to be called clone created followed by a question mark because this is going to be a boolean variable, meaning it's going to have just two values. You can click OK once again. Now you need to make another variable, this time for this sprite only, and this is going to be called clone speed. Now you can click OK. Now I'm going to make another one called clone number, and once again set it for this sprite only. And lastly, I think this is the last one. There may be more, I'm not too sure. I'll see it then. So the last one that you need to set up is going to be called hider, and this is for all sprites. So now you can click OK and hide all of them because we won't really need to show them. Alright, there we go. So now I'm going to start off with a when I receive begin. And when I receive begin, and I'm going to zoom in before I continue. So when we receive begin, it's first important to set up the two most important variables, which we won't set up in the main game loop. And that is, we're going to first set, the first one is going to be block speed, and this is going to be set to -10. And the second one is going to be called weight lag. So we'll set weight lag as of now to be 4. Alright, there we go. And now I'm going to hide the sprite because the block isn't going to be visible anytime. It's going to be the clones of the block which are going to do everything. And just like for the other sprites, what I'm going to do is set up a block called block init and put all of this within it and run it without screen refresh. So click OK, put this like that. Okay, perfect. So this is going to set up all these variables, which are the global ones or the public ones. So now these things apply for all clones. So when the start game message is received, so I'm going to start off with when I receive start game. I'm going to start with the main loop right away. And that is going to be a repeat until loop, very similar to the paddle. So if you see here, we had a repeat until game over is yes. And just the same way, I'm going to say repeat until game over is equal to yes. And I'll grab the game over variable from the variables category. So there we go. So when the game over is no or when it is not yes, we need to do a couple of things before we spawn our clones. The first one is to clear all the graphic effects. And the reason I'm saying this is so that all the clones do not have any kind of ghost effect in them, because when the clones hit the bottom of the screen, we'll be making them fade away. So it's very important you add this first, and you should find it somewhere in the looks category. Yeah, this is the block, and make sure you add that right there. So before this, we'll also be setting this variable called clone created to be no, and you'll understand where we're going to be using this variable. As of now, just follow me along. So set clone created to no, and after this I will be setting clone speed to block speed. And this may seem like a strange line of code, like why would we need clone speed at all? Just hold on, you'll get it. So after we do this, now we can set clone number to be 1. So set clone number to be 1. And I'll use the hider sprite afterwards so that you understand what's going on. But as of now, I'm going to create the clones right away. So now I'm going to say repeat 4 times. And each of the times I'm going to create a clone. So create clone of myself, and then I'm going to change the clone number by 1. So this clone number essentially functions like a nice clone ID. So each clone is going to have a different clone number, and that way we can keep track of them pretty easily by just checking for their clone number. So alright, so I'm going to stop the code right here within this main loop, and now I'm going to head over to the main when I start as a clone script. So grab a when I start as a clone from the control category, and here you first need to wait until just wait until the clone created variable is set to yes. So clone created is set to yes, and if you recall, here we had clone created set to no. So what this clone created variable is going to do is to regulate this loop and make sure that all our clones appear at the exact same time. So if you just add this one line of code here, which is set clone created to yes, this will ensure that boom, when it's set to yes, this code is going to execute, and all our clones are going to appear at the same time if we just add a show after that. Okay, now we need to go to some position, and as far as the position is concerned, we're going to say go to y. I think the position is 130, and the x position is going to be, now you can head over to variables, and here's where the x positions list is extremely useful. We can just say item clone number of x positions, and this will automatically ensure that you do go to the right position. And this will just show the 4 blocks, and we need them to fall down. So what I'm going to do now is head over to control, grab another repeat until, and this time within the conditions I'm going to head over to sensing and grab this block which says touching and change it to edge. So it's going to repeat until we hit the ground, and here I will be changing y by the clone speed, not the block speed but the clone speed. And you'll understand why I'm doing this, just hold on. But after we change it by clone speed, after we finally touch the ground, what is going to happen is our block is going to be something like this. Okay, it's going to touch, but it's not going to be fully down, and our paddle can still somehow collide with it. So all you have to do at the end of this is change y by an enormously large number. I'm just going to say 200. Change y by not 200, actually negative 200, because we need to go down, and as a result this block is going to get pushed all the way down to the maximum it can take. And now we can perform our effects on it. So for the effects, I'm going to keep it very simple, repeat 3 times, and each of the times I'll be changing not the color effect but the ghost effect by 33.33333, or I'll just change it to by 34, just so that at the end of this the block is hidden completely, and thus we can delete the clone. So extremely simple, but that would be the block animation. So now when we test this out, let me click the green flag, click start game, and now we can see that all our blocks are spawning. Now that happened really fast, and I think the paddle detected the collision and the game got over. What I'm going to do now is just add in a small time delay within our block in this start game loop. So I'm going to say wait for, I don't know, maybe 3 seconds or something. Wait 3 seconds. Let me just say wait lakh seconds, because that's where we are going to use that variable anyway, but there'll be some more code additions to that. Okay, now let's try that once more, and alright, there you go. So that was the blocks. So it came from above, and all of them look pretty decent, and we need to find now some way of hiding just one block and making sure that the rest of the blocks still come down, and that is where our hider sprite gets really useful. Before I use the hider variable, however, what I'm going to do is change this y position to 150, and I forgot to do this early on, and within your block init, you can just go to looks and say set size to 90%, and 100% is a bit too big. And you'll see that when we do set it to 90%, it looks way better. So you can see that our blocks come pretty nicely. I mean, I like that flow of blocks right there. And now we can hide one of the blocks by using this variable smartly. So right before you spawn some clones, what you can do is say set hider to be, And within operators, you can grab this block which says pick random and change that 10 to 4. And this would result in the hider hider variable being either 1, 2, 3 or 4. And as a result, what we can do within this repeat statement is we can cross check if the clone number is equal to the hider. So and now I'm going to grab a not from the operator, and oopsie, that was unnecessary. I'm going to say if not and zoom out so that we have some space for our code. If not, and that's in operators once again. So if not, hider is equal to clone number. So if this is not the case, then we will create a clone. Otherwise, just change the clone number by 1. And what this is going to do is, let me just pull this code down for a second. Yeah, there is going to be quite some code we are going to add in addition to this. So just make sure you have some space to code stuff. Alright, so what this is going to do is, first it's going to go through and check. Let's just say hider is set to 2 initially. Now it's going to check first. Alright, our clone number is 1, our hider is 2. Nope, this is not going to be the case. So we can create a clone. Now we'll change it by 1. And now the hider is going to be the clone number. So this condition is going to be turned to false. And as a result, we never create a clone and instead just change the clone number by 1. As a result, we have three clone numbers with 3 clones because we don't have this clone set up. And as a result, everything is going to be working so much better. Now, before I hit the flag once again, I will make a couple of changes to the code here. And I'm going to do that by adding an if then first. So first I'm going to check if wait lag is greater than, if wait lag is greater than 0. And what this game is going to be is, kind of speeder game. I'm not sure how you call it. It's going to be like the mobile games of Subway Surfers or Temple Run, where every second you play, the game gets slightly faster, and as a result, you never notice, but in the end, you just happen to be moving way faster than how you started out initially. So this wait lag is going to control just that by this wait seconds. So each time we pass through this frame, we can just change wait lag by not 1 would be too fast. We can change it by 0.1, and as a result, this would be barely noticeable until we really get extremely fast, in which case it's almost going to be impossible. It is going to be impossible to avoid the obstacles, but until then, it's just going to get faster and faster and faster. And just the same way, I'm also going to be changing the block speed. So change block speed, where's that? Yeah, change block speed by negative 0.3. So we're going to change the speed at which the blocks come down as well. And now you may be wondering, well, why did we need this clone speed at all? And the reason we need clone speed is because if we just had a block speed and we were changing it like this every single time, then our clone speeds would be changing all the time, which would kind of be weird because the clone would start out slowly and then come really fast. And as this wait lag gets smaller and smaller, the effect would be greater and greater, and the game is going to get really cringy eventually. So this clone speed would make sure that all the 4 clones move with a constant speed, because once a local variable is set up and then we form a clone, that clone is going to stick up with that, it's going to stick with that local variable even if we change it for the main sprite. I hope you understood that. In case you didn't, it's perfectly fine. Just move on with your code. Alright, before I start the game, I just realized that I made a small mistake here, and we changed wait lag by negative 0.1 and not 0.1, because if we change it by 0.1, the game's going to get slower each and every time, which is definitely not something we want. Okay, so now comes the moment of truth, and there you go. Our blocks fall down, and you can see that it works perfectly. Now you may think that this is too easy, but believe me, this is going to get harder as the level goes on. And eventually there is going to come a point where we can no longer take it. And I'm going to end this video right here. In the next video, we'll be fixing up some things with our paddle, and we'll also be having the high score mechanism working perfectly. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.